Hey, what's going on, guys? It's No Shoes, and welcome back to another Technique Tuesday. Today, we're going to be reacting to the Martyr. They're suggested by Stay Ahead, so thank you, Stay Ahead, for the suggestion. Keep coming in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe, especially if you want to see more Technique every single Tuesday. But without any further ado, let's get right into it. Let's see what the Martyr is all about. Let's see what Immortal Technique has to say. Let's get it. Okay.
I'm content to die for my beliefs. So cut off my head and make me a martyr. The people will always remember it.
No. They will forget.
Okay. Ominous beginning here. Make him a martyr, cut off my head. Will the people remember it or will they not? I think they'll remember it. At least for a little while. We all forget eventually. But let's see where this takes us.
No. They will forget.
A man who walks with God can walk anywhere. Hence, I fear nothing. The point of guerrilla war is not.
Okay. Beautiful instrumental coming in. Those string stabs, the longer, more legato portions of the instrumental, all of the layers combining to really give us this orchestral type of feel. Very clean mix so far. And just intrigued to see where this will all build up to. I feel like Immortal Technique really surprises me, especially on these older tracks with the types of instrumentals he uses. But then again, we even have tracks, I believe, Freedom of Speech. I think that's on Revolutionary Volume 2, where he uses a sample from Pinocchio. And just so many different things. Very eclectic mix. But let's see where it goes.
Can walk anywhere. Hence, I fear nothing. The point of guerrilla war is not to succeed. It's always been just to make the enemy bleed, depriving the soldiers of the peace of mind that they need. Bullets are hard to telegraph when they bob and they weave. The only way a guerrilla war can never be over is when the occupation can't afford more soldiers until they have to draft the last of you into the service, and you refuse because you don't see the purpose. The only way to counter the insurgents.
Okay. Interesting. So guerrilla warfare, the only purpose is it's not to succeed, it's just to make the enemies bleed. How do you end a guerrilla warfare when the occupation is ended, when no more soldiers can be drafted? It's interesting what perspective he might be coming from here. I imagine he's seeing himself more from the side of those guerrilla warriors who might be dying as martyrs against some, large entity, that outside entity that comes in and tries to exert control over them. But where is he going with it?
Is when the occupation can't afford more soldiers until they have to draft the last of you into the service, and you refuse because you don't see the purpose. The only way to counter the insurgents that are well equipped is to paint the people fighting for freedom as terrorists. Then find a faction looking for foreign investment, install them in power and murder any objections. You can't stop a
That's an interesting one, and I'm not going to get too controversial with y'all today. Immortal Technique does enough of that for all of us. But people being labeled as terrorists for fighting for freedom. It's a very interesting way to put it. You can call people a lot of things, and that can shift the world's perspective on who they truly are and what purpose they serve. But it's all just words and semantics at the end of the day.
Paint the people fighting for freedom as terrorists. Then find a faction looking for foreign investment, install them in power and murder any objections. You can't stop a revolution from breathing, so to beat them they offer people the illusion of freedom. But when you're done dreaming and wake up tortured for treason, then you can see them hiding behind the God they believe in. Deep in the trenches in the heart of a war.
I like that. Hiding behind the God they believe in. And ain't that the fault of all these so-called righteous causes is that they're promoted through war and death and violence in this sense of, oh, we need to rein in this wild population and control them so we can show them the error of their ways and bring them to what is righteous and good. At the end of the day, you're just a warmonger destroying people's lives and trying to impress your own values onto other groups.
They offer people the illusion of freedom, but when you're done dreaming and wake up tortured for treason, then you can see them hiding behind the God they believe in. Deep in the trenches, in the heart of a war. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on during the night before the start of the dawn. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. Gunshots are raining in the heart of a storm. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. Guerrilla war when the army is gone. Yeah. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. The purpose of life is
great use of ad-libs and layering on that hook. Nice change in the instrumentation. Everything builds up a little bit higher than it does during the verse, giving us more energy. It's bigger, more grand. And then we kind of pop down back into the verse where that energy is still there. It's still present. His flow is still pushing against that beat and moving us forward. But it lets us relax almost a little bit. And it's interesting with different artists, the way they'll flow that energy. Some people allow the hook to kind of be the point where you can cool off a little bit. Other people push everything towards the hook. And then the verse, while it still might contain a bunch of complex topics, they're related in a slightly more calm fashion. Regardless, great feel to it so far.
That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. Guerrilla war when the army is gone. Yeah. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. The purpose of life is a life with a purpose. So I'd rather die for a cause than live a life that is worthless. I don't need the circus or the day of.
The purpose of life is a life with a purpose. I'd rather die for a cause than something worthless, maybe. Let's bring that back. Love the flip, especially when you get a use of the same words twice in a row. Some of them are a little bit cooler in my opinion because you can get different meanings out of the exact same sound. Like if you say I seen him at the crime scene, then now we have two meanings, two different meanings, same sound. It got a little lost there in my head, but let's keep it going.
Guerrilla war when the army is gone. Yeah. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. The purpose of life is a life with a purpose. So I'd rather die for a cause than live a life that is worthless. I don't need the circus or the day of national observance. I need you to think for you and stop being a servant. Pawns only move us.
Yo, from worthless to observance to servant, or I think servant's the last one he hit. Great way to transition to essentially a new rhyme scheme by bending your rhymes. So that way you don't get stuck in a hole of like car, cigar, bar, char. Like really great way to move smoothly and increase that intrigue.
Observance, I need you to think for you and stop being a servant. Pawns only move a square in the game that they're used in and realize it too late, like the shooting of Huey Newton or Patrice Lumumba and Salvador Allende, slaughtered by the power-hungry branches of their own gente. Gandhi wasn't killed by Pakistani nationals, he was assassinated by a Hindu radical. And Che Guevara, rebel to a U.S. continent, was sold to the CIA by Bolivian communists. Wasn't Yitzhak Rabin murdered by a Zion?
So he's going through the names of, maybe calling them all revolutionaries would be an overstatement. I don't think Gandhi would necessarily be considered a revolutionary, but maybe I'm wrong. It's been a long time since I've really thought about him, honestly, since school. But Che Guevara, obviously, great reference right there.
And Che Guevara, rebel to a U.S. continent, was sold to the CIA by Bolivian communists. Wasn't Yitzhak Rabin murdered by a Zionist? And Anwar Sadat, a victim of the same violence? Malcolm X was seen as a threat to the FBI, but to blast them they used Muslims from the NOI. Even the 35th president of the Republic was murdered by
Okay, but it sounds like what he's explaining is essentially these political leaders, these thought leaders, these people who were looking to bring change to to their places in the world, to their people, were their assassinations and what have you were planned by other organizations, fed to a different organization to misplace the blame, and just again attacking the false narrative that we've all been fed. Again, as I've said many a time, I am not as educated as Immortal Technique on these topics. I haven't done the research. I'm not here to confirm nor deny anything, but he makes a very compelling argument, and it's good to have these things brought out into the open where they can be talked about as opposed to buried.
But to blast them, they use Muslims from the NOI. Even the 35th president of the republic was murdered by factions of his own government. So now that it's proven that a soldier of revolution or head of an empire disguised in a constitution cannot escape the retribution or manipulation of the self-appointed rulers of the planet's corporations. So I'ma need every generation to put your hands up, cause you can only get them off your back when you stand up. Deep in the trenches in the
I like that. You can only get them off your back when you stand up. Kind of upsetting the political power, kind of breaking that pyramid almost. If you think about like cheerleaders in a pyramid, if one of them stand up at the bottom, everybody falling over. Well, let's bring this back just a little bit further. Right about there.
soldier of revolution or head of an empire disguised in a constitution cannot escape.
And that too, the head of an empire disguised in a constitution, calling out the American government, our constitution, and what it's supposed to mean, and maybe what it's come to mean, and what our government has turned into.
The retribution or manipulation of the self-appointed rulers of the planet's corporations. So I'ma need every generation to put your hands up, cause you can only get them off your back when you stand up. Deep in the trenches in the heart of a war, that's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on during the night before the start of the dawn. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. Gunshots are raining in the heart of a storm. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. Guerrilla war when the army is gone. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. I was a man, blessed by God.
Okay. Great change here. We're going to start it from the end of that hook, but now we're entering some type of bridge section. The vocal, it slows down, and now it's much more conversational rather than rhythmic. And we're going to see what his maybe his closing thoughts are before this track fades out.
The army is gone. That's the place the martyr is born. Motherfucker is on. I was a man, blessed by God, to survive some of the worst circumstances. I had many things. Beautiful woman I love, a home, money, and I gave it all up to bleed and to die free. Sometimes I look back on that.
Oh. Okay. Is that it? Is that it? Weird. Fair enough. I'll never understand why some people leave just 30 seconds of silence at the end of their video, but I guess not everybody knows how to edit. That's fine. As y'all probably know, this album is, I assume, old because it's very difficult to find any of these tracks actually officially released by Immortal's channel. But regardless, that was the Martyr from Immortal Technique. I hope we didn't miss too much at the end there. Really enjoyed that track. Great sound to it. Beautiful meaning behind it. And just staying true to his message, discussing the issues he sees in the world, and bring those to light, bring them into conversation. Regardless, thank you again for the suggestions. Keep them coming in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit like, hit subscribe, and hit that bell if you want to see more videos like this. Much love to everybody in the No Shoes gang, and I will see you all next time.